seconds turn into minutes, minutes turns into hours, hours turns into days, and days turns into years. Time is always moving no matter what we're doing. You know the expression, slow and steady wins the race? Well, that means consistency is key. And if you want those hours and days and years to add up to something meaningful for reaching your financial goals, then consistency is needed. However, most of us struggle with consistency. So here's the dilemma. We need consistency to reach our financial goals, but it's also the thing that we struggle the most with. So what I'm going to cover in this video today is really the money mindsets. This is a 6-part series, the first video in the series. And the reason why this is so important is because even if you do all the work to gain the financial literacy that you need to reach your financial goals, you actually need to apply that to your life. And you can only apply that if you've built the mindset and the habits that get you there. And that's what we're going to be focusing on. Have you ever heard of the compound effect? Darren Hardy explains this really well in his book, The Compound Effect. And what it is it's a series of small, smart habits over time in a consistent way that lead to radical results. And that is what the compound effect is when it comes to your habits. It's not about get-rich schemes. It's about being slow and steady to win the race, which is winning to achieve your unique financial goals. Today, I'm going to cover tiny habits. These are the tiny habits, the small financial decisions that you're making every day that are going to compound and affect you either positively or negatively in your finances. So let's take a look. Have you ever heard of the magic penny? If you haven't, let's talk about it. So you have the option. You can either get $3 million now, or you can take the penny that doubles every day for 31 days. Now, pretty much everybody picks the $3 million because that's a lot of money. But what we find is that that penny that compounds and doubles over time gets to over $10 million in 31 days. And that is just a great example of the compound effect, which is those tiny habits that you have every single day, they compound. It feels small and insignificant at first. That penny only becomes 2 cents on day 2. But over time, that habit really adds up and it actually helps you in reaching those goals. The momentum goes up. When we talk about tiny habits, we have both positive and negative compounding habits. Let's talk about what each of these are in some examples. Positive compounding habits. This could be automating your savings and investments. This could be paying extra to get out of debt. This could be tracking your spending and living below your means. These little tiny habits that you do over a long period of time add up to massive wealth. Conversely, there are negative compounding habits that these tiny decisions that you're making every day could actually create financial stress and a financial burden on you over the long term. So some examples of this are daily splurges that add up to thousands over time. This could be credit card interest that snowballs into long-term debt, escalating that financial stress. This could be delayed savings with years of lost growth. Let's apply these habits to a real life example, okay? Let's take the example of buying a car, and we'll have Susie take on our negative compounding habits, and we'll have Brooke take on our positive compounding habits. Susie likes to buy new cars. She bought a new car, and let's say she spent $50,000 on it, okay? She put $15,000 on the down payment of her auto loan with a 5% interest rate. So she now has a monthly payment of $805. Now, right now, the average car payment is $745. So this example should resonate with a lot of people who are purchasing new cars. Conversely, we have Brooke. She's decided to buy a used car. So she took the same $15,000 that she had and she bought the used car in cash. She did not have a monthly payment, that's $0. And what she decided to do instead of spending that money on the car payment is she took the $805 that she's not spending on her car every month and she's instead putting it into her stock market portfolio. What happens after those 4 years? No surprise, Susie pays off her auto loan. She spent $39,000 to do that. And Brooke invested that money and she now has $47,000 growth in her stock portfolio. In just 4 years, there's an $86,000 difference between Susie's car buying habit and Brooke's car buying habit. And when you think about that habit and continuing over time, where maybe after those 4 years that Susie pays off her car loan, she decides to get another car, she's gonna have another car payment. And maybe she could put down a little bit more because she has a car, but a car is a depreciating asset. And so that value of that car has been going down significantly over those 4 years. When we look at the difference between Susie and Brooke over many years of their car purchasing habits, Brooke is now hundreds of thousands of dollars ahead of Susie. And that is the compound effect at play. And this habit is based on all the little decisions that you're making every single day about your finances. If you've identified as somebody that has some of these bad financial habits, do not worry. It is never too late. And now is always the best time to change things. I want to share with you a story that can help paint this picture, and it's very humbling for myself. Life is about experiences and learning from our experiences, so there's nothing wrong with making mistakes and learning from them. When I was 18, I actually purchased a new car and I had a $300 per month car payment. This car payment was really taxing on me. When I was in college, I had to pick extra shifts up. I was working at a restaurant to be able to make that car payment. And I felt like it really hindered that freedom that I wanted at the time. And it was a good understanding and learning from me that debt actually steals some of that freedom. And so I did have a 5-year loan on that car. I did pay off that car in 5 years, and I was so happy when it was paid off. I decided I'm going to keep driving this car forever because I don't want to have a car payment. And I did drive that car for 10 years up until I started building a family because the car no longer suited the needs that I had. But even to this day, I buy used cars. Even just a few years old really will save you a lot of money. New cars depreciate immediately when they're driven off the lot, so it will save you a lot of money just by buying a car that's at least a few years old and then driving that car for as long as it makes sense for you. Now, I share this story because I want you to know that it's okay if you've made mistakes. It's okay if you have credit card debt or medical debt or student loan debt or whatever your unique financial situation is. The fact that you're listening to this video tells me that you're motivated to do something different to change your situation and to change your future. And the good news is that you can, because with smart choices, time, and consistency, you can radically change your financial future. So just remember that building these tiny little habits can change your future and help you reach your goals. It is not too late. If you really want to achieve your financial goals, which I believe that you can, we need to start making sure that you have the right habits in place. So to make today's video actionable, I want you to take away 2 things. First, write down a positive financial habit that you are going to start doing today. And I do have a recommendation for you if you don't have one in mind yet. If you do not yet track your spending, I recommend that you start there. There is a lot of research that says that is a huge factor in your finances. And that's a whole different video topic, but it's a great financial habit to start. The second thing is to decide on what is the negative habit that you want to take away from your life. Now, I do have a recommendation for this as well. If you tend to be somebody that spends a lot of time on social media consuming content that encourages you to spend, if you identified with that, try thinking about a way that you could replace some of that time consuming that content with something that is an investment in you. And you decide what that is. Maybe that's doing a workout. Maybe that's reading a book. Maybe that's journaling. Maybe that's spending time with somebody important to you. Think about what that is and implement that into your life. This video was part 1 of a 6-part series, so I want to know what you think. What is the positive habit that you're going to add? What is the negative habit that you're taking away? Please do share. If you're interested in the rest of the series, please subscribe. And lastly, I want to leave you with something. If you do not yet have a budget in place, which is foundational to reaching any sort of financial goal that you set for yourself, I have a free budget template that you can download that are in the description of this video. This is the exact template that my husband and I used to pay down 6 figures of debt in our 20s and become millionaires in our 30s. My videos in general are about personal finance, money management, and living your best life. If that is something that's interesting to you and you are not subscribed yet, please do. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful and inspiring. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.